what were some of the specific strategies that you used to amplify your existence or your presence way back then?
Early on, I did a Toastmasters course because, of course, one of the things was about speaking.
Mm-hmm.
You can't and ah, and you need to have confidence in your approach. And I did a Speechcraft, one of their early courses, and it was fabulous. In fact, I found my speech notes not long ago because now I teach public speaking, which is really interesting. But then I had no idea how to talk to leaders, how to talk to ministers. I mean, this is a fun fact, everybody. Ministers and politicians are just ordinary people like us who just happen to get so many votes that they got in. There's actually no qualification to be a politician. Anybody can be elected, and often anybody is, and that's the problem.
Yeah. Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
That's a whole other webinar. But you know, I was scared to talk to these ministers and these government officials who were going to decide our future in our company. And so I needed to get a level of confidence. And I found Toastmasters to be so amazingly helpful for me. And it helped lift my own confidence in who I was as a person and how I spoke to people. And I think that really helped shape my early career. The other one was the woman that I worked for, Nadine. We're still great friends, and I still consider her a mentor in my life. She took me everywhere with her. So the reason I could step up into management so young and so early was because she had trained me, but she didn't say, here's a course to go to, or, you know, those sorts of things. She actually just took me alongside her. And it's one of the things now when I'm coaching leaders, I say to them, don't lunch alone. You know, don't go to meetings alone. Take somebody within your team with you, particularly somebody that you want to train up, that you see potential in, because that's where they will learn. They will learn more from you than they will from others. So I think they were the two real keys that helped me understand and grow confidence in myself to help me step up to those next levels.
I agree. There's nothing better than learning the ropes from someone who's trodden that path before you. I know years ago when I was in the corporate space and I went to work for a blue chip global organization in a sales capacity, and it was just being able to actually go with the person and learn from them. You learnt the dialogue, you learnt the way they conducted business, and then you could put your own stamp on it then. But if I was to be thrown out on my own, I think it would have been a very different thing, and no different to starting my own business. I remember when I thought, gosh, now I appreciate how valuable that was to have had that period of time spending it with someone else, because when you're out there on your own, you've got no one to set the benchmark and sort of look at the gauge as to, well, how well am I going and have I got this right? It's all up to you.
But I think people don't train others, or they don't want to invest the time, because everybody's time poor. It doesn't matter what field you work in, everybody's time poor. And so we don't invest the time in those that work with us, but to our detriment. And people say, well, but then if I train them up so well, they might leave. Again, saying if you don't train them, they might stay and you'll be stuck with them as they are. So I think it's always worthwhile training people up, taking them forward. I say to my team all the time, I have no expectation that they will stay with me forever. I hope that they will go on to do more amazing things than they can do working for us. I think that that's something, I think we have to hold them close, but not too close that they can't be free to be where they need to be in their own careers.
That's a really good way of thinking about it. And I have heard that before, that people are reluctant to invest in younger people in their organisation for fear of them being all trained up. You've invested in them, you've done all sorts of things, and then they just go away and leave. But there's another thing to be said about doing that, because if you have gone to the trouble of investing in them and taking a vested interest in them, then I think it's about what goes around comes around. And I think eventually down the track, you do get that back somehow.
And also, I wholeheartedly agree. Look, I'm a referee for lots and lots of people who've worked for me in the past. And I have people that I worked with 10 years ago that still list me as their referee. And they're off doing amazing things. But then I have others that come back to me and say, oh, you don't have any jobs going, can I come back and work for you? So there is something about being a good employer, and we have this employer of choice and all that sort of stuff. But I think investing in your team, I've got one of my team now that I'm going to get executive coaching for. I could coach her, sure. I do that for everybody, but there's something about having somebody external to you coming in and coaching that really provides that great input. And, she'll go on and do great things.
Mm. I agree. Look, I'll let you in on the secret. Years ago, I actually took over or purchased a rundown beauty salon down here on the peninsula, and some of the staff that I've had or that I took on in that capacity have actually gone on to open up their own businesses and are doing extremely well, but not without seeking advice and mentoring from me as to how to go about doing it. And I'm talking 10 years ago. So I do sort of take that as a compliment, that I'm
Absolutely.
doing something right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned that I was chair of the Top Blokes Foundation. Well, I joined the Top Blokes Foundation 12 years ago when the then 19-year-old managing director, who'd had this dream for this amazing organisation that focuses on helping young men become all that they can be and their health and well-being and so on. And we were just this tiny little organisation in Wollongong. And when I left 12 years later, the managing director has been the Young New South Wales Australian of the Year. She's won multiple awards. She's been on the cover of the AICD magazine, company directors. And we've expanded from one local government area to 35 local government areas up and down New South Wales into Queensland with inquiries internationally about what we can do. So she has gone on. I mean, I watched her get married. I've watched her have kids, but I've seen her expand in and of herself. And whilst I've never won any accolades, she has won multiple accolades. And if my mentoring and support to her, has helped her do that, she will go on to be amazing. Even like now that she can't win all the young awards because she's reached that age gap, she'll win the adult ones now. And that's fabulous. And that's absolutely, why I do what I do.
Well, that's fabulous. She's done that all by being a female as well and a mother, and which is incredible.